The grasslands is a pretty exciting place to work in the context of the CEC because it's one of the few biomes that is truly continental. So it's an area that touches from Canada straight through the United States into Mexico. So it really enables us to work cooperatively with people from all three countries to meet common goals. The grasslands themselves are a really exciting place to work from a conservation point of view because the need there is very great. On my day-to-day job, I work with species at risk, and through the last 4 years where I've been in my position, I've constantly noticed that the grassland regions are providing a lot of work for myself. So the ability to be able to do some work to try to reduce that workload is very welcome. And so to do this in a context where quite a bit of work has already been done, either through previous work from the CEC in the grasslands region, where there's been quite a considerable amount of work done, but also the work of many other organizations and people out there in the grassland landscape. There's a really solid foundation of information and conservation work that we're building on to move this project forward. So if I could just move on to the results now. What we're hoping to do is achieve some results for the conservation of biodiversity through working with sort of unique people in terms of a conservation context, in that we're really hoping to pull in the people who are active on the landscape and the industrial sectors that are out there to help us move towards our goals. So what we're going to do just in the beginning part of the project is develop a partnership that will pull in those traditional conservation entities with the industrial sectors and some of the community areas to develop that unique partnership. That's something that will be ongoing. We're not going to have it right from the get-go, but our hope is that this will be broad and effective so that everybody who should be in that partnership is in there contributing. So as I mentioned, we're going to have communities, we'll have NGOs, we'll have governments, you know, everybody that we need to move our project forward. And what I'd really love to see is that this partnership be a legacy that is ongoing, so that while this project is dealing with primarily beef production, there are many other factors that are affecting biodiversity in the grassland landscape. So if this partnership is active and ongoing, we can start pulling in other aspects of conservation that need to be dealt with beyond the scope of this project. So the second result is sort of more focusing on the beef production aspect of this project. In the beginning stages, what we're looking at is sort of going out into the world and finding out what best management practices exist out there so that we can pull them together in a central location so that they're all together. And so if somebody is looking for best management practices, there's one place that you can go. And then in the process of doing that, we hope that we will identify perhaps areas that might not be covered quite so well, and that we can work to fill in those gaps so that by the end of the project, we have a pretty solid repertoire of best management practices that ranchers on the landscape can go to and say if they want to sort of make their production methods biodiversity friendly, that's the place they know they need to go to find that information. And then the next result is one of assessment. So we want to make sure that we're able to measure that you know, we're having a positive effect out there. And what we've chosen to move forward with right now is using birds as an indicator of biodiversity. You know, birds are a constant in the grasslands. They stretch right through our three countries. They move back and forth through the year between our three countries. We think that they'll be an effective tool to measure how well we're doing in terms of enhancing biodiversity. So the way we'll do that is just to make sure that all of the information that's currently being collected is coordinated and that we're able to communicate it between our three countries and get that information to the people who need to know what it is. And then a fourth result from this project will be centered on an economic valuation of healthy grasslands. So what does a healthy prairie give to the producers, but also the public in general in terms of services like water retention, ability to cope with drought situations, things like that, but also looking beyond that to what benefits do we get from the carbon that is sequestered from a healthy grassland? And if a beef producer is adopting these best management practices, is that becoming a greening of the beef production industry? So these are all things we hope will develop through this aspect of the project. And I think pretty much that is it. This is a recognition of some of the partners that have been involved in the project so far. I apologize if I've missed any of the partners on there, but I hope you'll agree that it is relatively diverse. We've had great cooperation with Canabio in Mexico, the U.S. Forest Service, and my department, and also with a lot of those other NGO and industry partners at the same time. And I hope in next year, the year after that, when we can report back, we'll show that this has broadened quite significantly, and we've produced a more effective partnership as a result. So